minute. Release brake to start. Whoa. Unbelievable. Hello everybody, Supercars in Seconds here. Today I'm in the AMG GT63, not the S. So I'm in the 4-door sedan version with that powerful 4-litre V8. I'm going to thrash on this car for a bit, then we'll start the review. So she's super aggressive looking there. It's dark grey, really suits the car, I think. It's very shark-like. So a 20-inch wheel here as opposed to the S getting the 21. Slightly higher series tyre, but just makes it more comfortable because of that. Steel brakes with slots rather than the ceramic, so maybe a little bit better feel there. I like this big long back door. The overall length of the car is long. It's a good sized car. Moving inside, we have those AMG sill plates. It's on the mats, it's on the back of the seats, and they're beautifully sculpted seats. Again, you'll see later on, these pads are inflating and deflating as I go around the corners. I like the wheel, it's almost square. It's really one of my favorite steering wheels on the market. Moving into the back, I say we've got that very long rear door with this extra piece here, and that very swept roof line is beautiful. Based on the E-Class, of course, but just a much more sleek machine. I like how they continue, all the finishes and throughout the doors are the same. Get a close-up on that paint for you. Gosh, it's really pretty. Purples and all sorts of colors. Rear seats are good. Again, you got that center, more of a 4-seater as opposed to a 5, that sort of swept roofline coupe, but good headroom in the back as well. Moving around to the rear, underneath the Mercedes badge, you've got a large bumper section. Now I'm going to go underneath here, there's a little rubber pad. Of course, you got it on the key also, which opens up this big trunk. Now, of course, it does have a high belt line here to get things in, but they've really thought about the space very well. You've got your sub bass from the Burmester speakers and so on. This one's just been detailed up, so she's looking good. If I push on the front of this, it'll pop up a little tab here, so I can rest up there. And this is something that Mercedes-Benz has that's super cool. If I pick this up, I can then click in the sides and it drops into its own little storage area there, so things don't fly around in the back of the car. Then, as you saw, just pop up the sides, 1 and 2, and it drops right back down into the base of the car. Pretty cool. Of course, to close it down, we just got our little button here, just push on that and it'll slide the tailgate back down. But look at that line, isn't that beautiful? How the roof line is constantly curving from the front A-pillar there all the way to the very, very back edge of the car. It's a constant curve. These big monster exhausts, you'll hear those barking at us in the video, but really just beautiful look to the car. The S had a more aggressive diffuser, a larger wing, things like that, but I kind of like this sort of stealthy look to the car. Driver's eye view here. One of the better looking steering wheels on the market, I think. This metallized section in the center is just quality looking. I love the AMG logos everywhere, super cool. This darker exposed trim, I'm not sure if it's synthetic or whether it's wood. It feels very nice though. You can feel the grain right through it. It runs right into the door. Just beautiful. The big screen, of course, down in the center, we got our mode selector. So as I click through that, it'll show the different modes that we have. We got Sport Plus, then into race as well, which is very, very cool. The exhaust is opening and closing, of course, as I'm selecting these different modes. So each side of the steering, see these little tiny black little squares. Those are actually little gesture pads that you can move around. So if I click this as a picture of a house, and you can see it's quite shiny, but there, that then goes into my menu. Then with this little gauge, I can swipe it left and right, look, and it'll go between from section to section. And the little black pad this side will control the screen over here. So I can control that screen in 2 different ways. I can use the little, again, I've got the picture of the house home button to go back to the menu over there, and I can swipe across it with my finger, or I can go down into the little mouse pad here and do the same thing by swiping. Just convenient to have it on the phone as well. So you got great control right by your thumb. Very impressive. So we have these 2 beautiful 12.3-inch screens next to each other, so it's huge. If I put my hand up here, you'll start to see how big they are. Very big displays. So I'll go to vehicle and push down on it and it selects that. So if I go into dynamic select, again, just by pushing down on it, it will go into that. Individual configuration is cool. So again, I'll push it, and now I can start selecting stuff. If I go like scroll with my finger downwards to dynamics, then select that. My favorite thing, they have wonderful words. We got the basic dynamics. I love master. That's just, you're beyond pro, you're the master. This is Yoda's car, apparently. The center console, again, a beautiful look to it. The gear lever here, just park button and so on. You just rock it backwards and forwards for the gear that you're in. Backup cameras come on, of course, with the 360 cameras, very cool. So just lovely tech. Down in here, this is a nice thing. Down, so I push this forward, a very deep cup holder area, but it also has a hidden, I'll put my hand in, it goes for miles, a hidden remote charger, so, like a wireless charger for your telephone. USB 12 volt power. But what's nice is when you close it, it's all just blends right in, is hidden away back in with this lovely green. What's cool is their attention to detail. Even though this and this are separate, the grain does continue, look, onto the other part of the panel. So right at 15 inches on this big front rotor here, you can see the slots and the ventilation all the way through it. The huge big yellow, which looks super cool, by the way, against the gray, that big yellow 6-piston caliper in there. That operates, of course, as part of a 4-wheel steering system. Low speed, it will move the opposite way. High speed, it moves the same way. And you'll definitely see that when I'm out on the road now in the car. So, powering this monster, we have a version of the Mercedes 4-litre 8-cylinder twin turbo, so V8 twin turbo. The turbos are down in here. You can kind of see the shrouds around the compressors there. Very, very cool, because they get a massive amount of heat, so I think that's why they've left this space to get some of that heat out. And you'll see all the shrouding around the hood too to protect that. 577 horsepower in the 63, of course 630 in the 63S. 590 pounds of torque here, 664 in the S. This car being the standard, shall we say, if there's such a thing as a standard AMG, I kind of like the look of it a little better. You still got that very aggressive front, but just a more sleek line down the car. This engine powers all 4 wheels through the Mercedes MCT transmission. So the Mercedes MCT multi-clutch transmission is kind of cool. Not to be confused with multi-plate transmission like a manual car might have. It's separate clutches in a line, in different packs in a line. I gotta just press my exhaust button, bear with me. That's better, that's better. If you've got a car with an exhaust button, it's gotta be on. So, MCT, you got 9 gears in this transmission, and they're kind of in a straight line. Rather than being a wide sort of transaxle like, say, a McLaren would have, that would have 2 shafts inside a McLaren transmission. Gears 1, 3, 5, and 7 behind the driver, approximately behind the passenger, gears 2, 4, and 6. So they're sliding back and forth. This transmission, they say, being in a straight line and one solid shaft, can handle more torque. There's 590 pounds of torque in this big sedan. So the car has a great launch control system, very easy to use. I've got it in race mode. I need both feet. Just firmly press the brake and that activates it. When I put my foot to the floor on the gas pedal, it gets ready and I just let go of the brake. It's really a good system. So let's have a go. All right, so firm on the brake, hit it, release brake to start. Whoa. Unbelievable. Because of the all-wheel drive, no wheel spin, into Batman's corner here. Boy, what a sound this car makes. Boy, very flat. For a big car, this is very, very flat. She's powerful. Let's try these big brakes. These are the big steels, whereas the S gets the ceramics. Let's try them. Oof. Boy, got into the ABS there, but really, really strong. So the title of the video, The Forgotten AMG, all anyone talks about really is the GT63S, the 630 horsepower version of this car. I actually like this version a bit better. I'm going to link in the video I just did on the S recently. I'll put it in, and right at the end of the video, you just be able to touch on it and watch that. But I think this is more civilized, and what I mean by that all the AMG cars are big hooligans, you know, they're noisy, amazing cars. But this has a more refined personality than the S, and some of my guys, you know, customers would have a sports car and then drive this every day, and I think that's why I like this version as opposed to the super hardcore S version. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Would you take the S or would you take the more conventional version? So with the dynamics in Master, it follows my inputs really well. You'll hear it now. Just pops and bangs as you touch it. God, amazing how it stays right on the boil. The turbos stay spinning up, and very, very impressive how it responds. So coming down at pretty high speed to our nice right-hander here. Great traction, really very, very good. A bit more body roll than the S had. Remember the S staying incredibly flat. I've got a slightly smaller tyre and slightly smaller diameter wheel here, and I think that's part of it. What I like though is it follows your inputs very well. Even though she's twin turbo, it doesn't feel turbocharged. A lot of the cars I'm testing lately, most cars are going to turbo today because of emissions and just getting that extra power out of a smaller engine. But the turbo lag seems to be just disappearing. It's great fun. I've enjoyed driving it. The seats, of course, are the active seats, so they're constantly inflating whatever. If I turn left, this bolster inflates and keeps you comfortable. But really a nice car to drive. This moving around here at low speed also. That four-wheel steering the car has is really very impressive. It seems to shrink the size of the car when you're moving it around. I've enjoyed it very much. One last thing on technology. I'm in the backup camera. The Mercedes does have a very good 360. It seems to blend better than some of the other cameras. But I'm in reverse here. If I pull this back and go into drive, it switches now to the front camera. See, now I'm going forwards. It's letting me see what's in front of me. And again, I still have that 360 reference. So one of the better camera systems, I think, on the market. So that's the AMG GT63. I'm going to say it again. I actually like this car more than the S. The S is super aggressive and a lot of fun. And I think this is more stealthy. This is the upset the neighbors when you go flying by them in their sports car type of car. Really a good one. Please subscribe to the channel if you don't mind. I'd like to have you be a part of the channel. It's really enjoyable driving all these nutty cars. Please ask me any questions you have down below. I'm going to put it down over here. I'll put that video of the 63S review I did recently so you can compare the two. Thank you. I'll see you again soon.